This task is for teachers, mainly for teachers, but test coordinators, this is something you will need to know as well. So for teachers, the first thing that you need to be able to do, I need for you to be able to do, is task one, and it's located in Canvas. So we can go to the Canvas course for test Leap 360 for test coordinators and teachers. Your task is located here. It's the first task. Now this task, the title says viewing and understanding documents in DRC. Now some of you will remember these documents from last year. For others of you, this is the first time you will be dealing with this. So let's go ahead and open up this link here and notice what task 1 says. So task 1 says viewing and understanding documents in DRC. As a teacher, there are important documents that will help you with grading the writing and constructive responses, documents which will help you drive instruction, and then documents that will help you understand what is being tested. This task involves you viewing and understanding the following documents in general information in DRC, and use the following video for details. So the video link will be here, and it's the same video that you're viewing right now. All right, so one of the things we're going to look at is the teacher study guide, and then another document will be the teacher access. Then we're going to look at reference sheets. We're going to look at paper test, and then we're going to look at the user guide. And in particular, in the user guide, we're more interested in the diagnostic quick start guide. All right, so when you log into DRC, so remember you go to DRC and you're going to log in. I need for you to go to, see where it says my applications right here? So there's a drop down menu right here, so click on it, and what I want you to do is to go to general information here. So let's go to general information, click on that, and then this shows up. You're going to go to documents, so go to documents, and all right, now make sure that you do have the administration diagnostic interim 2020-21. So your test coordinator should have given you access to that administration. So you see where it says document type? I need for you to click on that drop down menu and then scroll all the way at the bottom. But notice there are quite a few documents in here. But the first thing I want you to look at though is the teacher study guides. So let's look at the teacher study guides. Click on that and then click on show documents. And then all of the teacher study guide shows up. You see it right here. So you have the Diagnostic Algebra 1 Teacher Study Guide, Diagnostic ELA 3 Teacher Study Guide, Diagnostic ELA Grade 4 Teacher Study Guide, and so on. All the way over here, I'm hoping you can see this right here. See that little PDF right here? That's where you would click on those to open up the document in PDF form. All right, so I want to look at an ELA. So let's look at grade 6 ELA. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and notice, see the date in which it was placed on DRC website. So this was as current as May 1st, 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this grade 6 ELA PDF, and so it's opening up. Okay, so let's talk about what the study guide is. Now notice this is the diagnostic, so there is going to be one for the interim as well. But right now, if you notice, all they had were the diagnostic teacher study guide. They didn't have any interims, just a diagnostic for right now. Okay, so scroll to the second page. So notice there's the answer key, and these are hyperlinked. So notice the answer key starts on page 2, the scoring guide starts on page 5, and the actual test is on page 98. So I want you to go to page 2. So let's just click on this and it brings you directly to page 2. So make sure you read all of this entirely. Make sure you understand what's being said if you are teaching ELA grade 6 or ELA grade 5 or math grade 3, whatever it may be. Just make sure that you are understanding the teacher study guide. Okay, so notice that there are different forms for ELA. Okay, different forms for ELA. And if you scroll down, let me just quickly scroll down for you, and these are the different forms. So um, for grade 6, form 1A and 2A, that's called that's where students are tested on opinion. Grade 6, expository for form 1B, 2B. And then for form 1C, 2C, narrative. For um, diagnostic. For diagnostic, curriculum has decided, or the district has decided, to focus the diagnostic ELAs on expository. So your test coordinator will set up the test sessions for ELA using expository. So now it's kind of a little tricky here for ELA. For all grades, expository is Form 1B. Now, notice there's a 2B. Form 1B involves reading and writing. Form 2B only involves writing. We are focusing on reading and writing, so that's why we're going to use Form 1B. So all ELAs will be Form 1B except for 5th grade. It's interesting in the fact that if you go to 5th grade, you'll notice that expository is Form 1A. So it's a little tricky there. So if you're a 5th grade teacher, you will not be doing Form 1B, you'll be doing Form 1A, which is still expository. Just look at it, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so those are different forms that are available. Again, for diagnostic, we'll be focusing on expository. So if you scroll down to the page 6, notice it again. Just make sure you read all this carefully. So they talk about text complexity. Then here's the extended response items and so on. All right, now when you're grading the constructor response, and this is also the information that you're going to use to grade the writing response and grade the constructor response for math. So notice that the writing response is graded on content, presentation of ideas, and control of conventions, and that's true for all ELAs. And so notice that there's a description of what content measures, there's a description on presentation of ideas, and a description on control of conventions. And if you scroll down to the next page, those are the rubric for both content and presentation. Okay, content and presentation are 4 points each. So 4 points max for content, 4 points max for presentation of ideas. If you go to the next page, again, here's a presentation of ideas. So there's a description of each one. Go to the next page. Remember we talked about control of conventions? That's only 2 points max, and there's the description of what each point value would entail. All right, so then you can use this for each student. It's a good idea to do that for each student, so that way when you provide that information back to the student, remember you're using this to drive instruction. Use the diagnostic to determine where students are and what you need to do throughout the course to get them to where they need to be to succeed on the end of year test, on the state test, the LEAP 2025 test. So use this. You may look at it and say that's a lot. It's really not. Once you do a few, you'll see that it really is. You're going to find it invaluable for yourself and your students and parents. Okay, so then these are the anchor sets. So let's talk about what an anchor set is. So if you scroll down, these are these are actual uh, responses that students made. These are actual responses that students made. So a couple of years ago, the state went around asking districts to send in responses, and those were some of the responses that were sent. So the anchor papers are just responses, and then there's a description on how that response did on content, presentation of ideas, and control of conventions. So this is important for you as a teacher when grading constructive response, or for the writing response in this case, so that way you'll grade consistently. So look at these anchor statements. Look at them. They're important. Take the time and look at the teacher study guide. Study the teacher study guide. Okay, so and then there's some more anchor statements. So all of these are anchor statements. Okay, so just scroll down. And then what I want to do now is I'm going to scroll quickly so you may get a little dizzy. Um, they also provide, and the good thing about the teacher study guide is you and any of your colleagues at that same grade level, what you may want to get together and actually score an exercise together. And so that's what this is right here. So there's a practice scoring exercise. So you may want to do that. And then there's the rubric that you would complete, and then you compare that with your other colleagues um, and see how close or how consistent you are with each other on scoring. All right, so there's a practice paper number one, there's a practice paper number two, and so on. Okay, and then I'm going down pretty quick. Uh, and these are the explanations for the different point values for practice paper number one, practice paper number two, number three, number four, number five. Looks like quite a bit. Six, seven. Okay, and then they talk about alignment. So that's some other parts in that teacher study guide. Um, so again, the scoring information. So I'm going to scroll down because I do want to show you something real quick. So there's some more anchor sets. So just go through these, and just understand what's in the teacher study guide. But I want to go all the way down to the bottom if I can get to it, and that is the actual test. So the diagnostic test is is graded by the computer. So it's either, and I think it's all multiple choice maybe. So they're the writing response. I'm sorry. There's the reading part. Um, and then if we go down to, yeah, so it looks like there's part A and B's, but they're multiple choice. All right. And then look, so the other thing about this is they give you rationales why a student would pick the incorrect answer. All right, so there's one for every item on the test. There's a rationale for every item on the test. So the teacher study guide is very important to you. It's important to you to drive instruction. It's important to you to determine what students are thinking when they are making those responses, and how you would deal with that. Um, so the teacher study guide is something you need to look at first. Study it before you give the first diagnostic test to your students. So I need for you to be able to do this now. So once you get this video, I need for you to go to the teacher study guide in DRC and start viewing it. It's a lot of pages. You may not want to print this out. Um, just view it on your computer. Okay, so that is the teacher study guide. So there's quite a bit of information there. All right, so the next thing I want you to look at, so you see this, like you see up here 222 pages in grade 6, and then you do the same thing for the other grades. All right, now the next thing I want you to look at is this. So let's go back to DRC. So we're still in general information. All right, I want you to scroll down, well, actually scroll up, I guess, and you see where, again, document type, instead of teacher study guide this time, I want you to go to teacher access. So let's go to teacher access, then show documents, and let's see what that is. So if I go to teacher access and I click on, let's do a math this time. Let's say math. Let me find a math. So it's in alphabetical order. So the math will probably be on the next page. Okay, so let's go on. All right, so I thought I clicked on the next page. Let's do it again. Let me just do next. Okay, here we go. So, so let's look at grade 6, diagnostic. All right, so let's open this up. Okay, so this is what you see. So the teacher access is the actual test. So you see what opened up was the actual test. So in grade 6, there's only one diagnostic test for math, and they just call them Form 1. So on the second page is a reference sheet for the diagnostic test. And then there's either 2 or 3 sessions depending on the grade level, and depending on whether it's an interim or diagnostic. And there's a test. All right, so this is the diagnostic test. So that's what they mean by teacher access. So this is your access to the test uh, in terms of a PDF. Okay, so that's it. So that is teacher access. Um, Now let's go. So the next thing I want us to look at is let's go back up. All right. So again, teacher access. That's just the test. Um, Now let's go back up and then let's go to reference sheets. All right. Show documents. And so these are the reference sheets for the diagnostic test, and it looks like they have the interims up as well. Now remember, your students are taking the test from home. And so in the online test, they can click on an icon, the reference sheet icon, and they can see it on the screen, the reference sheet. So they do not need a hard copy of the reference sheet. But if those are where all the reference sheets are located, so that way when you do meet, if we do meet face to face at some point during the school year, especially with the interims, those are the reference sheets, and that's where you would print them out. Okay, now the next thing I want us to look at is this. So let's go to paper tests. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and see what it says show documents. We'll go ahead and show documents. And you'll notice that it's only for grades 3 and 4. That's what the paper tests are, just for grades 3 and 4. So so in the past, the district printed, if you recall, the district printed the diagnostic test, the interim test for grades 3 and 4. And partly because the students for LEAP 2025 took the test by paper. And so we wanted to mimic what they were going to do on the LEAP test. Well, with the situation we're in now, the district is not printing paper versions for grades 3 and 4. So the students will take the test online. Um, these are where the paper versions would be. It would be here on the paper test. So if we do go back to face to face at some point, then the interims, there is a possibility. I'm not sure. We'll have to look at the money. There's a possibility we could at that point print paper tests for the interim. But for diagnostic, it's not. The students will have to take it online. Okay, now, the next thing I want us to look at is the user guides. So let's go to user guides. Let's find it. See right here? User guides. Show documents. Okay, now, for right now, all I want you to do for task 1, just task only, all I want you to do, see where it says Diagnostic Assessment Quick Start Guide? I want you to open it up. See the PDF right here? Let's go ahead and open it up. And I'm going to move it over, and this is what you see. Okay? All right, so what you see here, you see a lot of passwords. Okay? And so basically, if you want to take the test yourself like a student would online, this is where you would go. So again, if you want to take the test and see what the student would experience would be, then use this. Okay, so here's what you would do though. So very quickly, see where it says that teacher access link? So teachers may view the online diagnostic test using Google Chrome and the teacher access link. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open it in a new window. All right, and so this is what you would see. All right, so you're going to need the username and password. Now, by the way, when students go into take diagnostic, this is what they would see. You as a teacher would give them their username and you would give them the password for that test. And that comes from the test coordinator who creates a ticket. All right, so I'm going to move this over and I'm going to explain something. So so the username that goes here, see the username that goes here, will be this information here. All right, so for example, diagnostic underscore ELA 1A7. So I'm going to go ahead and actually remember we're using Form B for all grades for ELA except 5. So let's go ahead and do this one. So I'm going to use Form B. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and I'm going to go ahead and paste. Okay. Oop, maybe I can't do that. All right, so I guess I'm going to have to write it out. All right, so let me move this over so I can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over and let's see what happens. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and so DIAG, and I don't think obviously the username is not going to be case sensitive. So ELA, and I think that's 1B7, and then the password is Leap 360, and I don't think that's case sensitive either. But remember, normally a password is case sensitive, but I don't think it is for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just do lowercase just to show you. So lowercase Leap, that's lowercase Leap 360. And then let's see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and there we go. So it's not case sensitive for the password. And by the way, for those of you that gave the Leap 2025 test before, this is what students see. So they would click on continue. There's the LACID. The LACID would be there. Then they would continue, and then there's session 1, session 2, session 3. So let's say you click on session 1, and then you see where it says go to next. So let's go to next. Let's go to next. Go. Let's begin the test. And then there's the reading passage, and then they would just click on their choices. Now you see up here, that's important. So it's very important that that students practice the online tools, so that way they're familiar with what these are. So there's the pointer, there's a cross off. So for example, you may want to, well, I guess, yeah, cross this off like that. There's a highlighter, so you may want to highlight. Oops, I did something wrong. Use highlighter. All right, so you can highlight things. Sticky notes, magnifier, line guide. Let's see what that is. So I guess I'd have to move it down. So you see the line guide. All right. So students see the practice of this. So that's why they need to practice with that online tools, with those online tools. Okay, so that's what that is. So hopefully you understand now what this is for. So this is going to help you to experience what students experience taking an online test. Now, one other thing I want you to look at here is this. So there's something called the Strong Start Library and the Diagnostic and Screener Guidance, which if you have time, go ahead and click on it. But let's see, for more information about best practice before, during, and after administering LEAP 360 diagnostic assessments, refer to using the LEAP 360 diagnostic assessments. All right, now I am going to, for your next task will be this. That's going to be your next task. But for right now, I just want you to focus on what's in this video. But I'm going to click on this just for a moment, just to show you what this is. So this is what you're going to use to help you with instruction before the students take the test and after they take the test. All right, so there's quite a bit of information here. So that's going to be another task that I'm going to need for you to do. But for right now, the only thing I want you to focus on was this information. Make sure you understand the teacher study guide. That's the first thing I need for you to do. Understand the teacher study guide. Then remember what teacher access was. That's just a test. We talked about the reference sheet. Since this is online, students have access to the reference sheet online. The paper tests that we talked about, and then the diagnostic quick start guide. And the only The only thing I want you to be able to view on the online teacher stud I'm sorry, on the diagnostic quick start guide is this right here. I want you to experience, and then the math's down here. I want you to experience what students experience while they're taking the test online. Okay? All right. So if you have any questions, make sure you go to your test coordinator, and then if you have any further questions, your test coordinator may need to contact accountability. All right. So that's your first task. Have fun.